What's up, guys? Welcome back for yet another weekend of fun. This weekend is a weekend of rebuilding stuff. I have gotten most of the pistons and most of the rods cleaned up. I don't know if you remember how nasty they were before. Well, here's an idea. There is one of the rods. It doesn't look nearly as bad on camera as it is in real life. But here's the new rods, or the exact same old rods, just cleaned up. Same thing with the pistons. I mean, I think we knew how bad the pistons were. So here's the pistons. They look dirty just because they're coated in WD. I was trying to stop any corrosion that might come from the stuff I used to clean them. But this is everything that's clean as of now. I've got one rod that's being cleaned as we speak, and this stuff right here, this shit is the bee's knees. For 30 bucks you just about can't beat it. But you can't really tell because it still looks brown, but this has been in here for about 10 minutes. I'll take it over there to the sink here in a minute and wash it off, and it'll look brand new again. And then oil it down real good. Also picked up a 50-degree VTC that will be sticking back on here when we put it all back together. And then still got to clean all this stuff. Probably not going to film a whole lot of the cleaning. Like I said, it's just boring old shit. Cleaning, but that's the key when you're rebuilding a motor. You can't ever get it clean enough, especially one that was this grimy. I'm gonna go ahead and get cruising on putting this head together. I've only got a couple hours because I gotta do kid stuff today with the kiddos. So I'm gonna try to finish cleaning these rods and then go ahead and get the head all slapped together, or at least get the valves and the valve springs in. It's ready to go for all that stuff. I did my little homemade resurfacing job, and other than that, it's all cleaned up. I did the final cleaning on it. It's not perfect, but it's a lot better than what it was. So let's get cruising on sticking all these valves and springs in. Alrighty, so the head is as far as I can go with it. I've cleaned up everything that I can clean up that's actually that I can actually reinstall right now. I haven't done the cams or the rocker assemblies yet because I can't put any of that back in until I get the head bolted to the block, because the head bolt's got to go through there. But here it is. Nothing too special. Just a clean, freshened up head. It's got new valve seals, SuperTech valve seals that I had a couple sets, in my box over there, because that was one of the things I wanted to do on the RSX, was replace the valve seals. But it's got those guys, and then it's all spruced up and ready to go. So the next plan of action is going to be this girdle. I'm going to try to get it cleaned up, and through the magic of video, I should really be a special effects artist. The shit I can do is it's amazing with a camera and a computer. It's been a couple days. The girdle's cleanish. It's Wednesday now, and me being out here on a Wednesday night normally means that I'm not gonna get a video out tonight. So when you're seeing this Thursday, Friday, whenever it may be, sorry. Work fucking sucks right now. I've just been staying busy and pissed off at it at all times of the day, every fucking day of my life. But I'm back out here and back at it again. So today I'm gonna try to get the block cleaned up. So I'm gonna get to jiving on that. I got the block all cleaned up. Doesn't look too perfect, but looks pretty good. You know, just kind of half-assed resurfaced it with a 3M pad, you know, by hand, just real lightly, not enough to gouge it or anything. Cylinders all look good. There's a little bit of staining in them, but they honed out real well. They cross-hatched well. Same thing on the bottom side. You know, it's all nice and pretty looking. Over here, got the girdle all cleaned up, all the hardware, the crank is cleaned up. You can't tell, it still looks kind of bronzy in the video, but I mean it looks like a brand new crank. Just to give you an idea, I got two of the cams here. This one's been cleaned and this one hasn't. And hopefully the camera will focus well enough that you can see the difference between the two. You can definitely tell by the cam gears. That's how much of a difference that stuff makes. I mean, and this is like maybe 5 minutes of scrubbing, not even that. Maybe a full minute and a half of scrubbing with some of that barium and chem dip on it, and then rinsing it off in WD-40. So it's crazy how well that shit works. I still have to do this guy, which I'm going to knock out in that other camshaft, and then we'll start talking about you know, what all stuff Dallas has got for the motor and kind of go through it. So I'm gonna clean up this stuff real quick, and then you know, we'll dive into some of this other stuff. Alrighty, so back at it. I got the rocker arm assembly all cleaned up and put back together. Everything is clean as far as I know. I still got to do the cam caps. That's the only thing. But here it is in all of its glory. There's all the pistons and the rods. There's the crank again, the heads all put together, the cams. We'll get into this guy here in a little bit. This is a 50-degree VTC, but I think we're going to put a limiter in it, which I'll talk about that more here in a little bit. The girdles all together. There's the valve, or the rocker arm assembly all ready to go. And Dallas picked up brand new Honda rings for it. So I've got them right here, and I've got all my specs. New ring gap in the service manuals, 0.008 to 0.014, which that's a little tight for me. It says the service limits 0.24, so I'm going to shoot for 0.18 I should say. I need to mark that on there, otherwise I'm going to make them fucking huge. But then the bottom ring gap, I normally go about 2 more, so this will be 0.020, and that's where I'm at right now. I've got the first ring in the cylinder, and what I do is, to get it all squared up, I set my caliper. Normally the manual says 15 to 20 millimeters, so I just set the back of it sticking out like that, and I'll go around the whole ring and square it up, and as you can see, I got it in there and ready to go. So I measured it. Right now we're at about 0.014, so we're gonna have to take a little bit off, and that's where this guy comes into play, our nifty little ring grinder. So I'm gonna pull it out. I've only got one set of rings right now. Dallas I think has the rest of them at his house, but I'm gonna go ahead and get this one figured out, and then get the piston and everything assembled on it, and then maybe we'll start working our way back. But I'll put the crank in before I come back and put the pistons and rods in. I just want to get all the ring gaps set. Okay, so I got all the rings done. filed down on the pistons they go on. I got the pistons on the rods. Everything's all back intact like it should be. I'll go over clocking them here in a minute, but they're all good to go as of right now. I also went ahead and put the oil squirters back in, and got them torqued. I had hell finding the torque spec on these, and I remember last time I did a K-series, I had hell finding the torque specs on it, on my motor. They're 12 foot-pounds. They're a motherfucker to find. I've got the service manual, and I couldn't find it in there anywhere. That's not to say it's not in there, but I couldn't find it in there. I found it on a Club RSX. So I'm going to throw the bearings in and try to go ahead and get the crank in. The bearings, Dallas went back with factory Honda bearings, and we just bought the same ones that came out. You know, Honda bearings are sized by color. And I measured them with a caliper, the thickness of the old ones and the new ones. They're all spot on. Normally I would plastic gauge a motor if we were putting in like standard, you know, King or ACL bearings, but this guy, there's no point in it. I know it's going to come back good. So I'll do a spin test, you know, each step along the way, but I don't see any point in plastic gauging it. It's just a waste of time for something that I know, I already know how it's going to turn out. I'm going to go ahead and throw the bearings in, throw the thrust washers in, throw the crank in, and then we'll spin test it, and I'll pick back up with you then. Alrighty, so I got it all together and torqued down, torqued and then angled, 22 foot-pounds all the way around in the sequence, and then 56 degrees. Spins real nice. I'll show you my spin test here in a minute, but I figured I'd show you the run out on it. Little scared with thrust washers. I've always been a little scared. I've seen what not having or what clutches can do to thrust washers, which these are brand new, but it's super easy to check your run out on your crank if you've got a dial indicator. So I went ahead and did it. I mean, it's spot on. It's like 4 thousandths, and that's where it's supposed to be. But I'll show you. I've got my dial indicator, and then I don't know if you can tell, but it's 2 thousandths past 10 right there. You know, at my little zeroed out state. I just put my screwdriver here and pried back this way, and that's where we're at. So I'm going to put my screwdriver in here right here and pry back this way, and hopefully I can do this and hold the camera. But you see how much run out it's got there. So we're well within spec. It's right at 4 thousandths, which is about perfect for what the spec calls for. That's like the beginning of the new spec on the thrust washer. So here I'll show you my coveted spinning test. You know, there's no precision needed to build an engine when you have technology like this. There's crank pulley bolt. Alrighty, and here's my precision spinning crank test. So the old saying goes, you build it loose, only you'll know. You build it tight, everybody else will know. I think if it is loose enough for the wrench to fall over on its own, then you're good. You don't need bore mics or snap gauges or any of that stuff to tell if, you know, your engine's in spec. Just stick a fucking wrench on it and let gravity do the rest. No, in all seriousness, I know it's fine. I wouldn't do that on, you know, a normal motor. Like I said, I was putting ACLs or Kings or something in that was just standard. I'd at least plastic gauge it, if not, use a snap gauge and stuff. But for this one, it's fine. There's no point in doing it more. So I'm gonna flip it over and go ahead and stick the try to start sticking the pistons in. And the way I do that, especially, you know, like in this case where I didn't plastic gauge it, I'll stick 2 in at a time, I'll stick 2 pistons in, or 2 rods in, go ahead and torque them down, and then spin it over again and make sure there's not any binding or anything like that. Normally if you have a problem, it'll help you with the process of elimination if you do things, you know, you put the crank in first, spin it, you put 2 pistons in, spin them. If you get a binding or a weird little click or any resistance as you go, then you know your last step of what you torqued is probably where the problem is, and you can, you know, backtrack and investigate. But I'm gonna go ahead and throw in 2 of the pistons, and then we'll go from there with it and see how it goes. So get to it. Alrighty, so got all the pistons in, rods torqued down, got our head gasket there. We'll get into that in a second. Here she is, all done up, nothing special. So we're ready to put the head gasket on now. Dallas got a OEM Honda head gasket. It's nothing special. I did do my little homemade resurfacing on the block and the head. Because of that, I'm gonna go ahead and copper spray the head gasket. I know there's a lot of riffraff, you know, behind doing it or not doing it. I always say do it. There's no reason not to. For the extra insurance, I mean, there's no reason not to. That and read a post when I was younger from Tony One, or at Tony Paulo at T1 Race Development, before he got into all the big GTR shit and stuff, talking about copper spraying head gaskets. So ever since then, I've kind of been a believer. If you can break records with a copper sprayed head gasket, goddamn it, it's good enough for a 500-600 horsepower street car. So I'm gonna spray it real quick, just light coat on each side, let it sit there for 5 or 10 minutes, stick it on the block, and then torque the head down. There's our head ready to go, all cleaned up, nice and pretty like. And then there's our block again. So I'm gonna spray this stuff. Alrighty, I've got the head all bolted up, torqued down. I got the valve train in, or the rocker arm assembly cams in, cam caps, it's all torqued down. I was just trying to blow and go. It's starting to get late. So that's probably going to be it for tonight. Tomorrow, however, we will be coming in here. We're going to install a limiter on the 50-degree VTC and get it all installed, and then we're going to stick a K20 oil pump on it down there, and probably go ahead and time it and everything, and then we might pull some tricks out of our ass for the oil return. That way we can go ahead and get it done. We've still got to clean that pan up, but there it is as of right now. It's getting there little by little. I forget how long it takes to do shit like this. I keep telling myself, tonight after work I'm gonna knock this whole engine out, and I get like 4 or 5 things done on it. So, but there's always tomorrow. So I will catch y'all tomorrow. Alrighty, so it's tomorrow. I'm gonna go ahead and throw the new VTC on, but before we do that, we got a limiter for it, and I'll explain this. But so a factory k24A2 VTC will only do 20 degrees, I think, and normally when you start fooling with the motors, you want to do more than that. The problem is that the K20 ones, they'll do 50 degrees VTC. They say that anything past 45 degrees is where you'll run into interference, which is, you know, valves hitting pistons, and nobody wants that. But obviously in K-Pro you can set it up not to hit 50 degrees or not to, you know, go past 45. The problem is if you accidentally over rev it, there's a chance it could. So Track Tough sells a limiter kit. They're real cheap. I mean, they're under 20 bucks. I mean, they're real cheap. But essentially all it is this little pin right here. And here is the VTC, which this is a RBC. It's a, you know, K20 VTC. The cover was on it, well, like that. Took the screws out, and then this is where your cam movement would come from. This little piece right here. This is hard to do with one hand, but it actually slides. So all we got to do is take this little guy, drop it in right there, like so, and we're good to go. I know some people are sketched out about having, you know, a pin floating around in there. You can tack it in. I'm not going to tack it in because we might want to pull it out later. There's no telling why. I'm not comfortable welding to a part that could be very easily used on another K20. I mean, you don't never know what's going to happen. He might decide that he wants to do a K20 and need this for something, you know, later on down the line. So I'm not going to tack it in there. It doesn't scare me having it floating around, but throw it in there, put the bolts back on, torque them to 7 foot-pounds and stick some Loctite on them. But I'm going to do that real quick, throw the cam gear and the VTC on, and then start doing the oil pump, and we'll pick back up then because we're going to do something different with the oil pump too. Okay, I got the cam stuff all together, and now we're going to work on the oil pump. And Dallas picked up a K-Mod K20 oil pump kit for this thing. You know, the K24s have the big balance shaft looking ass things in them, and the K20 ones just flow a lot better. Let me show you the difference. So this is the factory K24 oil pump, big ungodly looking thing, and then over here we have the K20 oil pump, cute little guy. This is just a way better solution. The only thing with doing this is he picked this up from K-Mod, and they give you everything you need except for one thing when you're fucking with a K24A2. All right. So from the factory, there's this little oil restrictor in there, but it's sitting down flush. The easiest way to get it out is just to thread a screw, like a drywall screw or something in there, and just pull straight up. But then it leaves you with this hole. You got to plug this hole, otherwise you're going to have shit for oil pressure. The K-Mod kit comes with a bolt, but it's not for the K24A2s. This just takes a regular old 12mm bolt. And what I'm going to do is just put a little RTV or Honda Bond around it, and then just torque it down. So that's the only real weird thing. Past there, you put the baffle on, bolt the oil pump on. Normally, if you just have a stock K20 oil pump, these bolts right here will give you trouble. They sit up too high, and I'll show you here in a little bit once I get the oil pump on. But the ones from K-Mod, they machine the oil pump to where it'll fit. So it should fit nice and tight around there. But we'll go ahead and cruise on this, and then maybe if we get lucky, we'll go ahead and time it. Okay, so the motor is all back together. The only thing left to do now is I'm going to set the valve lash just in case anything got mixed up. I know you're supposed to do it warm, but we're going to do it cold, and then we'll do it again once it's running. And then I've got to weld the bung on the oil pan, but the bung's not going to be here till next week. I thought I had one, or I thought I had a fitting that I was going to be able to use and chop and weld on there, but I don't. So that, and I really need to weld bungs on the valve cover for the catch can, but probably wait to do that until we know exactly, you know, how we're going to do it once it's in the car. But there it is. I've run it through its paces. It's on time. So we'll go ahead and get cruising on setting the valve lash, and then we'll be done with this guy for a little while. Okay, so I've done all I can do on the K24. It is just about ready to go. Valve cover looks nasty. I'm sure Dallas is going to paint it whatever color he wants. I just got to weld some bungs on here for the catch can, and then I've got to weld the bung on for the oil return. I'm pointing to the front of the motor, but the back of the motor. But it'll be here next week. So that's about all we can do with it. Man, that valve cover looks nasty. Anyways, for those of you that stuck around this long, thank you. And I want to apologize for not, posting every week like I said I was going to. It's just when life happens, and work and kids and just the whole 9 yards comes before this and making videos. So that's just the way it is right now. I don't make actually I don't make any money off doing this, so right now I just fucking blow money on this place. But we hit 1,000 subscribers, which is, it's crazy. The fact that 1,000 people give a shit about what I'm doing in here just absolutely blows my mind. So I'm gonna try to do a little giveaway. I don't really have anything cool to give away other than shirts and stickers. That's the only cool shit I could think of. So what I want to do is it's not a contest, but you're gonna have to work for it. In one of my videos, which there's oh shit, I mean there ain't but like 10 or 15 of them. In one of my videos, in one of the time lapses, I did my world famous moonwalk. So get in the comments below and comment the name of that video, and then go over to my Instagram page. It's MegaSpool Kiltron. It's in the description. Follow me there, and follow Nuggets Instagram page. It's Nuggets World 808. And what I'm going to do is all the people, the order that everybody commented it, I'm going to go through there and number them, 1 through something, whatever, and then we'll do a little drawing on the next video, and then I'll just have to get a hold of you somehow. Haven't figured that part out yet, but hopefully you can get a hold of me if you win, and I'll send you some shit out. Shipping's slow, so just bear with me on that, because I have to get it from the shirt company here and then from me to you, so it'll take a little bit, but that's the only thing I can think to do. So if you like what I'm doing here, subscribe, hit the like button. If you don't like what I'm doing, as always, sorry. But we got some cool stuff coming up. Hopefully I got a customer that's going to bring in a car next week for sure. It's going to be here for a couple weeks. It's going to have some cool stuff done to it, but it's not a Honda. So so I think it'll be the first not Honda on the channel. But hopefully he's cool and he'll let me take some videos of it. So y'all can look forward to that. And as soon as I get a chance, I'm going to jump back into the mounting the diff on the all-wheel drive car. I planned on doing it next, but after this customer came in, I definitely got to jump on that. I got to pay for this place somehow, or just make some money somehow. But I'm rambling, so I will catch y'all next time. Thanks for watching.